Can you imagine? Americans feel like living in America is now a punishment. Why food have gotten so expensive? Rent, car insurance, and everything there is. And as a result of that, it's forcing them to go homeless.
Living in America right now feels like a punishment.
$2,000 a month, and my rent is $16.
You're sleep in your car, but it's against the law, so you sleep on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Here in New York City, one of the most expensive places in America to live, this man right here has made his home on the streets. He said he could no longer afford to pay rent. Here, the average rent is around $4,500 a month, while the minimum wage is $16 an hour. So this man says, I no longer can afford to pay rent. He's literally moved all his belongings outside. He's out here sitting on a chair, relaxing. Has a seat, he has his blankets, his cushions from his couch, pallets. And he says he's living a great life now. He says, I have no overhead. I've never felt more free as he's living here on the streets in New York City. It's so expensive to live here. People are literally going homeless on the streets.
In her 70s is short on housing options, so she's been living in her van, barely getting by.
78-year-old Beverly Jensen says it's hard not to notice this big blue van outside the Longmont Senior Center every time she comes to play cards. But she couldn't believe what was inside. Her is this woman in her mid-70s who didn't want to give out her name, so we are calling her Mary. She's been calling her van home for months.
In here, I keep my food. This is just my bed. It's a real bed that's in the van originally. That's juice. That's tea.
That's where you relieve yourself?
Yeah.
She says sleeping in her makeshift home last night wasn't comfortable.
Last night, I was so cold I was crying.
But that's the least of her daily struggles.
Yesterday was really hard getting food.
And a hot shower is a commodity.
Baby body wipes in the morning and night. That's my bath.
Mary says she tried to get help here at the Longmont Senior Center, but can't seem to find anyone that could help her.
It kind of hurts when I see all these fancy cars come in here in the morning and I'm freezing to death.
Look at this in New York City. This is so heartbroken. You know, I remember I was living in New York City. This was a couple of years ago, and I was living in a 3-bedroom apartment. And at the time, the rent was $2,000. Below that, there was a pizza store. And in this tight space, Lord knows, I don't know how I was able to make it. The fact that there was a pizza store downstairs, there was so many infectious, I don't even want to say it. No matter how much we were cleaning, we had mice and roach and, you know, all those other things just because the restaurant was downstairs. Not only that, I witnessed 3 accidents in front of me. One to the left that turned over in someone else's yard. The car turned over, went through the fence and hit a section of someone else's home. Another one went right in front of us. And the last one I witnessed, it wasn't too bad. But you know what came to mind? If I don't move out of here, it's probably going to be us next. And I said, it's not worth it. You know, New York City, it's not easy to live. It's like a job when you have to move your car from left to right. And if you don't move your car, there is a fine. And I can't tell you enough how many fines I had. It was like I was just working to pay them. You know, mom of children, sometimes I don't get it right. You know, when you have to drop off your kids, come back to the car, there's just so much. But long story short, it was so challenging for me in New York. And as a result of that, I had to move from New York to Florida. And even so, when we moved here, you know, it has gotten so expensive. After the pandemic, everything started to raise. Homes back then, that was about $200,000, $230,000, is now $400,000, $500,000. And it makes it hard for us to be homeowners anymore because the market is so high. Our salary remains the same and everything else continued to rise.
The reason why I am living in my car is because I want to be able to have money for my future, to have an investment. I want to homestead. I want to be able to do things that I wouldn't have been able to do by working a full-time job, actually 2 full-time jobs, in order to pay rent going into the ethers, because inflation is skyrocketing while stagnant wages are there. I also don't want to invalidate people who are actually struggling in homelessness because of mental illness. You're seeing a new wave of homelessness because of the economy. And yes, there are some people that are living in their cars, buses, vans by choice, but mine is for a future. That's why I'm living in my car. And that's why you're going to see more and more in this generation living in their cars.
I'm confused. I'm lost, dumbfounded. Everywhere in my city, everybody going up in apartments, okay? These are just 1 bedrooms. I pay $1,100 a month for 1 bedroom right now. If I resign my lease, it'd be $1,300, okay? Not including maintenance fees, not including all the utilities and all that stuff. When it's all said and done, I'll be spending $1,600, $1,700 to live there, okay? When it's all said and done. My thing is, what do these landlords think we're making out here? Okay? Everybody not making all that kind of money like this. I'm a truck driver. As you can see, I'm in the truck right now. Truck drivers don't get raises, okay? We don't get raises. I barely made enough to make 3 times the rent already. But now it's just going up. I don't know what's going to happen. I make $4 grand a month. I don't know. Well, I make that, but after taxes and all that, you know how that goes. It's about 36, something like that. I won't be able to afford that place anymore I live at right now. So I gotta move. I'm probably considering living in my truck, maybe. Might get a hotel rooms on weekends. If I get a hotels on weekends, I spend $580 a month just for Saturdays and Sundays. That saved me a lot of money, about $1,000 a month, just doing that. Cause I'm gone most of the time anyway. But my big concern is, I don't know where these landlords, how they think we out here making all this money to raise the rent down high. We got layoffs going on, and the federal workers are getting laid off, and it just, things gotta change, you know. I refuse to pay that much for 1 bedroom, so I'm not doing that. I've been looking around my city. A lot of folks moving in the city, so I guess, you know, supply and demand is what raised the prices up. But I've been in my city my whole life, and they trying to push us out. I'd rather be straightforward and say that. We're gonna push everyone that's a native of this city, who's born and raised here. We're gonna push y'all out and want everybody to come in here and say raise prices. I'd rather be straightforward and just say that, okay, than just raising prices and we just all confused, all right? I mean, it's just crazy to me. But I probably might live in my truck, get hotel rooms on the weekends, save a lot of money that way. Cause this year I'm trying to save 20 grand. And a lot of folks can't save $1 grand because they got all the bills. And like I said, rent prices are going up and food prices going up. Clothes, everything's going up in America right now, okay? There's no relief anywhere, it seems like. And I don't think it'll be a relief anytime soon. So I gotta be prepared, trying to save some money up, because money is king. And I gotta make it happen. What you gotta think about this?
I feel like this needs a market correction because no one is helping us. I don't know if the government will ever intervene. And to be honest with you, the people who are messing this up are large corporation, hedge funds, annuity. Those people are messing it up, you know. And I don't really want to call the names out, but I was looking up to these 2 guys a couple years ago. And even now, from time to time, I go and check them out. But when I really look at it, they brag and they boast on how you can flip homes and how you can rent and buy multiple homes for at $500. They tell you all the tricks and strategies on how to do it. And they're all big corporations, so they know how to purchase multiple homes and, you know, and rent them out in subdivision and, you know, Airbnb and all these different things. And sometimes I wonder if they ever look and observe and assess how many people are going homeless because of this. You know, they don't have the resource to be like them, where they can have hedge funds, you know, meet up with different investors. And to be honest with you, I would love to be a landlord for multi-homes one day, but I have to really think about this because yes, I know things are dominoes effect. I know when it comes down to labor costs and all these different things. I understand business, but there has to be some market corrections because the rich continue to get rich and the poor get poor. And this right here hurt my heart, hurt my soul. It really, really does, y'all. When I see these people going homeless, it's bad. When people working $21, $25, $30, or the middle class that makes up to $70,000, $80,000, or whatever that is, and still struggling. What is really going on? What's going on? It's sad. It's really sad. I mean, yes, supply and demand, we know how that works. But good God grace, how can people survive? Why haven't the government stepped in and started to increase minimum wage so people can live, so people can afford to live? Why do they allow these corporations to continuously increase their price in homes or houses, so to speak? What kind of life is it when you have to pick up 2 and 3 and 4 jobs trying to make it? They don't process how when someone has their family and they have to leave their family to keep a roof over their head by picking up 2 and 3 jobs, then who raised their children? The system start to raise your children because what happened? Parents aren't around anymore. They aren't there to supervise, to spend quality time with your children. And so what happened to this child or these children? They go out and they look for things to occupy their time. And as a result of that, what happened? Someone ended up in jail. Someone ended up being molested. Someone ended up doing drugs, whatever that is, because parents have to go and work and try to, keep a roof over their heads to make sure they don't go homeless. And as you can see here, a lot of people are forced to go homeless because the market, this economy continue to rise. Salary remains the same. And therefore, this is what is causing this economy to collapse. I want to hear your thoughts on this video. At this point, the only thing that we can use as a source is to pray to God and ask Him to intervene and ask Him to help us through this economy so that He can work on secular leaders, government, whoever in those offices that make decisions, give them some type of love and compassion and empathy for these people who are suffering out here because it's at its worst at this time. But my friend, if you're watching this right here, continue to pray and strengthen your faith. Let's talk about it.